So 24 is not like your average franchise. So, and the expectations for Legacy are pretty high. So do you feel under pressure because of that?
No, I don't actually feel the pressure, which is interesting. To me, it's more pressure to be on a show that doesn't know what it is. I've been on shows where they're just setting it up and they're trying to work out what really works, and they're trying to find the tone of the writing, and they're trying to find the tone of the performance, and that's always a really chaotic period on a lot of shows, I think, to try and work out what something is. Whereas this, it's so great to come into something where you know how strong the format of the show is, and you're working with writers who wrote on the original show and directors who worked on the original show. So it feels like you're going into a well-run ship already, and then it's just a matter of creating these new characters.
Can you talk a little bit about your character?
I'm playing Rebecca Ingram. She was the head of CTU, but she's transitioning out, and another gentleman is taking over her place. And she is married to John Donovan, who's played by Jimmy Smits, who is running for president. And we've made a deal in the past that when I was trying to capture a character called Bin Khalid, that he wouldn't run for president at that time, that he was going to wait until we had captured Bin Khalid. And so that has happened, and now he's running for president, and the deal is that I'm now leaving the CTU to support him in his campaign. And on this particular day, he has a lot of important things happening in his campaign. But on this particular day, also something happens to one of the Army Rangers who was involved in that campaign, and that is Corey Hawkins playing Aaron Carter. So I get drawn back in to try and fix that up.
Did you go back and watch some of the old series to kind of capture the tone, or did you want to stand?
No, I wanted to, because I was a huge fan of the original series when it first came out. My manager actually reps Kiefer, and I was staying at her house, and she had I think she had the DVDs at the time, and I just couldn't stop watching. It was sort of my first experience of watching a show where you just want to keep watching another hour. So it was great to go back and see it again and see how the show developed from the beginning and how it found its shape. And yeah, it was very interesting. And try to get the wonderful place that Kiefer had, where he had all the tension of everything, but he always seemed so in control of what he was doing.
Prison Break, guys, they mentioned just how current the show feels is because of Netflix and being able to go back and watch it.
Yeah.
What was kind of the buzz like around when you signed on for 24, knowing that a lot of people are coming to the show now, like 15 years after it started?
I think it's great to already have like a built-in fan base, and once again, I think, that the format of the show is so strong. That is such a nice thing to go into a show where you know that the actual structure of it holds the performances so well.
Does the real-time nature of the show affect? Does it feel any different acting for a show that's done in real time versus?
It is actually. That was interesting because we worked with Stephen Hawkins, who directed the original a lot of the first season and the original pilot, and so he directed our pilot. And he was saying, we have to do a lot of takes where we just shoot the whole scene. We don't cut things up a lot into pieces. And we have to time a lot of things out to make sure that the timing will actually work, that when you're putting up the different screens, that these things are going to coincide in time. It's actually quite complicated, more complicated than I realized going into it.
So what do you think is the most exciting part about being a new show, but actually, have a big story behind?
I guess, it's the great thing of having known that the concept works so well, but now we're dealing with a different world in terrorism and a different world in counterterrorism, and the show feels very modern and very much reflects the current state of affairs.
Since you were a fan of the original series, how do you feel that it separates itself narratively?
You mean how I don't quite know what you mean.
Just kind of so there's the tone of 24 and kind of the pace of the show is going to be the same, but narratively,
yes.
How much different is it from that first?
I don't think it's narratively really different in terms. It's going to be a different. With that show, it was a different story every season. Narratively, no, not different. It's just a different cast of characters, a different situation. otherwise, a lot of it is very much what you would expect. The action nature of it, the tension of the show, is very much what you would have expected.
So, what interested you when you first read this book?
I worked on Homeland last year, and I really enjoyed working in the area of intelligence. I found it really fascinating. I had a really great consultant advisor from the show, and when the season ended, I was really sad to leave because as a woman, I found it really fascinating to work in that kind of world, and I enjoyed the intrigue of it all. And I enjoyed playing a character as a female who wasn't all about, nurturing people and looking after children, doing all those kind of maternal things. So I was very keen to stay in this world. So when the script came along, I just thought it was a great script, and to work with Howard again, I was thrilled. I was in automatically. It was easy.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.